This webinar will be covering our student conduct process, specifically the process for incidents that fall outside of academic integrity. So we're really excited to have you with us today. Just some housekeeping. Posted to the website. So if you want to refer to the website after it's over, in case you missed anything or have additional questions, you can find that link and that posting on our Dean of Students website. My name is Weston Prisbury. I'll be serving as a moderator for this webinar. I use the pronouns he, him, his. I'm the Assistant Dean of Students and Assistant Director for Residential. Let Amanda introduce herself in just a moment before she begins. But we're so excited about us to share all of her knowledge and expertise with us. Again, we're talking about the student conduct process today, so everything that happens outside of academic integrity. So if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. Those will come directly to me, and I can make sure that we get those answered by the end of our presentation. We'll also have some time at the end, probably just a couple minutes, where we'll leave it open in case you all have questions and would like to put those in the chat box as well. So without further ado, I will turn the time over to Amanda, and she can introduce herself and then start our presentation.
Thank you, Weston, and welcome everyone. Thanks for attending. I know this is the most riveting topic, but I think it's an important one, and so I'm glad that you're here. I'm actually going to share my screen real quick with you all, so that way you can see the presentation. So Weston, can you confirm that you can see that? Perfect. Last time I forgot to double check, and we got a couple slides in without the presentation. So in any case, let me just reintroduce myself. I'm Amanda Davidson. I'm the Associate Dean of Students and Director of Student Conduct. And so what I do is I'm responsible for all of the reports that come in regarding misconduct, whether that's academic, whether that happens, with student organizations or clubs or groups, or if it's just general misconduct. And so what I'm going to be covering today is just an overview of what our process is. I'll talk about some examples or some specifics so folks can get an idea of if they were referred to our office, what the process would look like, and also just general information about how you can make sure that you're doing things and are aware of the policies and expectations of you as a student. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing is, we're really here as an office to support students. And I know that that's counter to what a lot of folks think about student conduct. You probably hear things like, oh, it's like going to the principal's office, or, you're going to get suspended or expelled. But in reality, what we are aiming to do is help students understand what those expectations are of being a part of a community. And then also how to make good decisions, because, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we make poor choices that, end up in a bad place, but we don't want that to become a behavior that is repeated and that impacts your life overall. So our goal is to talk about what's happened, get students connected to resources, and ultimately help them grow. And learn from that. So we are not the place that just removes students from campus. We really try and educate and support students. All right, so like I was sharing, mistakes don't define us as a person. I can honestly say that when I was an undergrad, I made a few mistakes and I may have broken a couple policies, which is ironic that I'm in this position now, but I think it does build character, and we obviously will make small mistakes that don't impact our lives in a significant way, but maybe we learn something from it or grow from it. When we approach our work, it's really important that we help students understand where the issue was. So for example, if a student is caught smoking or under the influence of alcohol underage on campus, that might be something that gets referred to our office. And initially what we will do is we'll meet with the student, ask information, get their side of the story, and then refer them or connect them with a resource that can help educate them. These things can be as small as, smoking on campus, or with the new COVID policy that just went in place. So maybe not wearing a face covering, or, you name it. There's a lot of different things that could get you referred to our office. We have some specific policies, which I'll share the link to for you all, but these are just a few types of ways that you can get referred. One big area that I think a lot of students don't really think of is academic dishonesty. That's something that maybe we don't even realize what truly is academic dishonesty or plagiarism. And so I'd encourage you all to look at what those policies state, so that way you're well aware, because sometimes the intention isn't to gain an academic advantage, but in turn, by doing something, you do. Um, and also, there's a lot of expectations around behavior. So whether you're engaging with certain students or in certain ways at a program, and if there's disruption or inappropriate behavior, those can lead you to get referred to our office as well. But most of all, like I've already said, we really want students to grow from our process. So let's get more into what that process looks like. So if a student gets referred to us, the first thing that happens is a faculty, staff, or community member may submit a report to us. That's through an online form that can be found on our DOS, Dean of Students website. Those come directly to myself and my staff. And basically, that's the allegations that are the basis for why a policy might be violated. And the next step of that is informing the student that they've been reported to our office. So we typically send students an email. It's kind of a interesting email because it comes through a system that you have to actually put your campus-wide ID number in order for you to see the document. And that's because we want to protect your information. We don't want anyone who may have access to your email or have just, got the email, got a hold of it, to see what's in there, because your record is private and confidential, and we want to make sure that that is not overshared. So there might be a few reasons why we could share that record, but I'll get into that later. So after we receive the referral, we send the letter and notice to the student. That letter includes a time that we'll meet with you. So we will schedule it based on your class schedule, and that will be the opportunity for you to respond directly to those allegations. So we don't want students to feel like you're going to come in and you're already found responsible. That is not the case. We may have a lot of information about what occurred, and maybe the details of that, but we really need to hear from the student. And so this meeting is your opportunity to come and present any information that you feel is relevant. During that meeting, we may make the determination that, hey, we feel like based off of all of the information you provided and that was reported to us, you're responsible for violating these policies. Or we may find that there's not enough information or evidence to support that finding. So we may dismiss the case. It just depends. Every situation is different. One key thing to know is that we work off a standard of proof. I'm sure you've heard of this. Sometimes it comes up, and if you watch Law and Order, it talks about standards of proof to determine if something occurred or not. Well, we work off of what's called the preponderance of the evidence. And that's just a fancy way of saying that we take credible evidence and determine what's most likely to have happened. So it doesn't mean that we have to know 100% that you did it or that the information shows what happened. We just have to have a reasonable amount of information that we can determine that it's more likely than not. So that's really important to know, especially when you're coming in to meet with our office. If a student is found responsible, so let me move forward. If a student is found responsible, then what we would do is assess some outcomes. And those can range. They can really be anything from a warning, a verbal warning, to an educational workshop, to suspension, or above that. I would say that don't be too fearful when you first come in. I know a lot of students get hearing that they're being reported to our office or receiving that letter from us is terrifying. And honestly, we want you to understand that it's very serious. So you should come to that meeting, make sure you share the honest information about what happened from your perspective. But ultimately, a first violation is not going to get you expelled unless it's something extremely egregious, but that is very rare. So just come in, share the information, and we will really try and resolve what the root of the issue is. Obviously, if you did violate the policy, we'll try and explain that to you and help you understand how to avoid that in the future. All right. So I already kind of talked about what these meetings are like and what we might assess. But one of the key pieces that I want to talk about when it comes to learning and growth is recognizing that sometimes our actions do impact other people. And the campus community is something that, if it is you that was impacted, or other folks, or other students, or faculty, we want to repair that harm. So some of the outcomes we might assess might be based off of that, and will really help to change that behavior or repair the relationship. So sometimes if students come in with an issue, maybe they got verbally aggressive with their faculty member, maybe we might want to resolve that. Maybe you just accidentally, forgot to do something, or um, plagiarized, and that is another reason. So this is applicable to any type of case that you might have when you come through our office. And then ultimately, if you want to learn more details about the process, you can go to our website and find out more information with the resources and the direct policy. What's important for you all to know is that you have a say, right? Your perspective matters. And there's also appeal processes. So when you do meet with our staff and we do make a decision, if you don't agree with that decision, you have a right to an appeal. And that process is very lengthy, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but just know that there is that option. And that is the case for academics, so your grades, as well as if you have other issues with faculty or other staff members on campus, we can be a resource in that too. And maybe that was part of why you got referred to our office. There's some other issues there. We can help you navigate that as well. The second bullet right here talks about our student code of conduct. This is probably the most important document that you should review as a student, because it has our 20 policies that are the basis of what we would find a student responsible for violating. They cover everything, a wide range when it comes to alcohol, academic integrity, even lying or falsifying information on our process. So when you do come into our office, the expectation is that you know these policies and that on your own you are doing the research so you're aware of them. So it's really important that you look at that. If you do get referred to our office and you don't hear back, because sometimes we are very busy and we have multiple cases, so there can be a delay, but you're super concerned and want to know what the next step is, or if you just have questions hypothetically, or a situation that you need help navigating, you can reach out to us and consult with anyone in our office. You can contact us by our student email or our office email, studentconduct@fullerton.edu. Or you can just reach out to any of the individual staff, and our information is on our Dean of Students website as well. So ultimately, this is the general information about our process. If you need more specific information about your specific case, please reach out to us directly, because it's different for every student. But hopefully you have enough to know what the process is like, so it's not so scary, and enough information so you know where to start to look to make sure you're aware of the expectations on you. So thank you all, and I'll turn it over to Weston in case we have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. We really appreciate the information. I just put another call out for questions in the chat box. Haven't had any questions come in yet, so maybe we'll give it about 10 more seconds in case folks are typing. But again, a really great resource, Title V, like Amanda said, read it. That in your class syllabi should be really the documents that you know inside and out when you come to Cal State Fullerton, or if you're already a current student. And then again, please email us on studentconduct@fullerton.edu, and we're happy to address any questions that you might have. I'm not seeing any questions come into the chat, so I'm not sure that there are any. So we'll go ahead and end the webinar. Again, as a reminder, this webinar has been recorded and it will be posted on our Dean of Students website. So you are welcome to go back and review that webinar when it's convenient for you, or if you would like to review it again and get additional information. But again, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you spending time with us. Happy first day of classes coming up. Week 1 is next week, so exciting. We are excited to have you all with us and can't wait to see all the great things you'll do here at Cal State Fullerton. Take care, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Weston, one more thing. There was a question that came up. We don't have a direct Instagram account yet, but we do utilize our Dean of Students Instagram account. So it's at CSUF Dean of Students. And a lot of information is posted there as well, especially with updates of what's going on. And we respond to questions and things that you may have questions about, so general things. So feel free to send us messages there, or follow us there.
Awesome. Good call, Amanda. Alrighty, everyone. Happy Friday. Take care and have a great weekend, okay?